Welcome to Matt and Andy Play the World.
Today, for our first episode, we will be reviewing the Deadpool movie, taking a bit of a page out of the Black Nerd Comedy Channel's book, and we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the nerdy. And just so you're aware, probably you've all seen it by now, but spoilers ahead.
Just in case.
So, we saw it on separate occasions.
About 2 weeks
ago. About 2 weeks ago for you, about the same for me. I saw it on Valentine's Day. So, let's talk about the good first. Start off mainly with the main man himself, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
I was impressed. It came across a lot better than I expected it to be.
Well, after his first transition
as the animated super suit that we don't talk about.
Yeah. I thought personally that Ryan Reynolds was a great choice to be Deadpool and Wade Wilson. He played both sides of the character really well. And obviously, he was already a massive fan of the comic, so he was sort of executive producer, he was making sure that the character remained.
It was nice to see him stick close to the original character.
Yeah, there was fourth wall jokes. There was the character. You felt the character was there.
There was Stanley in a strip club.
Well, that's always fun as well. As I said, spoiler alert, one of the cameos from Stanley is in the strip club, which is another good point.
Yeah.
I also thought the costume looked great.
Yeah, at least it wasn't animated this time.
Well, the eyes were at times.
But it wasn't green.
No, it wasn't green. I thought that using the love story between him and Vanessa as the main driving force of the movie was really, really good. Same as what Black Nerd Comedy said and a few other reviews, that it was nice to see a superhero movie that wasn't just the world or the city is in danger. It was a very self-contained narrative of Deadpool wants vengeance, wants his wife back, the end.
It was nice to see Teenage Warhead not dying for once.
Yes, yeah. She was great. I thought she was a good character.
Very well played.
Very well played. Good costume, good look. I really enjoyed the new Colossus.
A lot better than the last outing in X-Men.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that this version of Colossus was actually better than all the X-Men movies combined with him.
Well, it can't be any worse than most of the X-Men movies.
This is very true. And Francis was quite good. Good villain. Good sort of foil for him. The action scenes were great. I have to say that first sort of 2 minutes, the slow-mo at the beginning, what a brilliant way to start off a film like Deadpool.
Yeah, it brings it in nicely. You think you're going for a romantic comedy, and then suddenly somebody's a shish kebab.
Yes, that's it. All those things were great. Stanley's cameo was great. The action was great. All the acting was great. The only thing, on the bad side, and this is only what I feel, there are a few bits that they didn't take liberties with the comic per se, but they really downplayed who Francis or Ajax, however you say him, is. In the comics, He looks a lot more like Venom. He's a lot more of a big bad character, not just a shaven-headed, angry Jason Statham type person.
After his utter failure of the new Transporter film.
Yeah. That was one of the main things I didn't like. But there wasn't much I didn't like with this film. I thought all the jokes were funny personally. A few people have said some of them fell flat. Personally, I liked all the jokes that they...
It's nice to see a movie that was intended for adults.
Yeah.
There's a fair few complaints from people complaining about the content of the film. It's too violent, it's too mature, but unfortunately you're paying to see Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's not a children's film.
No.
It was stated countless times by Ryan Reynolds that this was not a children's film.
No.
So if you still insist in coming and seeing it, don't complain.
No. And that's one of the main bad points you can make about it, but it isn't supposed to be. He's not your normal Marvel DC superhero. He's very much his own.
It's not your family-friendly Captain America.
No. So, with the good and the bad out the way, the big chunk of this review will actually be me, especially as the big Deadpool comic fan. I can very much say what they've taken from the comic and how they've done that, good or bad. So, if you've looked up on Wikipedia or IMDb about Vanessa's character, I've forgotten the girl who plays it, but she's from V and all kinds of other stuff. She's also Dr. Leslie Tompkins in Gotham. If you look her up, she is actually a character, a mutant from early Deadpool comics called Copycat. Now, she hasn't shown her powers yet, but one of the nods to her being a mutant is if you look later on in the film when he finds her again with the costume, she's got white blondie streaks in her hair, and Copycat's power is a bit like Mystique, and she starts off with brown hair, and she has white sort of blonde hair with blue skin later on. The other big nerdy point that's great about it is they've actually followed the Deadpool origin story very, very closely. In the comic, he was with a woman called Vanessa who turned out to be Copycat, just like the comic. Then he found out he had cancer. He did the same thing where he disappeared. The big difference is, obviously, to try and take it away from X-Men a little bit, is in the comic, it is actually William Stryker. It is Weapon X. He is given Wolverine's powers on purpose. It's not his own X gene. It is actually the powers of Wolverine have been put into him. Obviously, that change I could live with. I thought it would have been cool to have the whole Weapon X thing, but obviously, as Deadpool said in the movie, they don't have enough money for all of the
X-Men.
We're
lucky we got two.
Exactly. Another thing is that character, as I said earlier, Ajax is a character. His name in the comic is actually even funny. He's actually called Francis Fanny. The joke with the whole "what's my name," I don't believe that's from the comic, but in the comments you can say if I'm wrong about that. I've read a lot more later Deadpool, especially the Brian Cozen run with Dead Presidents all the way through the Shitcler arcs and all that. But I do know bits and pieces, and from what I've seen from early comics, like Blind Owl, she's in it as well. Another nod to the original comics. And another great nerdy thing is all the fourth wall breaking.
Yes, certainly is.
One of what was it? Your favourite fourth wall break was the Professor X bit.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you've seen the film, Colossus is dragging him away by his arm, and he says, "You're coming to see the Professor," and he turns around and shouts, "Which one, McAvoy or Stewart?"
Stewart.
So
yeah.
brilliant little jokes. The other big fourth wall break was when he's finally. I love it when he's finally reunited with Vanessa. And she takes off his mask, and he's got Hugh Jackman's face stapled on top of his. Personal joke, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are friends outside of it, and so yeah, that some of those jokes were
the enjoyable one on the bridge.
Oh, which one was that?
About Hugh Jackman's balls.
Yep. Again, very X-rated. Also, the little the silly music choices like "X Gon Give It to You" when they're walking along. That song, "You're My Darling Angel" at the beginning, having George Michael from Wham's "Careless Whisper" at the end. Some of those music choices, they're very Deadpool. If you've played the game, that sort of humour comes up in the video games as well.
His lovely moment after being stabbed in the head.
To us, it was a brilliant comic book film. One of my favourites. It went straight into my top 5. Comic book movies, and you'll learn as you watch this channel. I'm a bit of a comic book aficionado, and I just loved the film from beginning to end. And I think a big part for me that I loved it so much was because, as I said at the beginning, it wasn't just some big, the Earth is in danger from a robot you created, the madman you created is trying to blow up your city, or anything like that. It was very a simple narrative of. It was still a love story at its heart, and that was an interesting part of it. And it's just about him trying to get revenge and get get the love of his life back.
Yeah.
And what were your final thoughts on the movie?
Very enjoyable movie, definitely worth a watch.
Well,
and, impressed and wait for the sequel.
Yeah, which if you've waited past the credit scene, you'll see that he comes out. That scene with him in the bathrobe is actually a nod to the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is one of the first post-credit scenes that Matthew Broderick comes out and says the same sort of thing. Oh, look, it's over, go home. But obviously they've added the whole stuff about Cable and wanting Keira Knightley and all that stuff. So thank you for watching our first review.
Indeed, thank you.
We'll be posting more videos, and we'll see you soon.